What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and I am live here about 45 minutes before the start of a big time UNM Lobo at Boise State Bronco basketball game. As you can see, the excitement is, you can cut it with a knife here. I'm not in Boise. For the second time in my 13 seasons covering Lobo basketball for the Albuquerque Journal, as the Lobo beat writer, I will not be at a game. I had a mechanical issue on a flight today, and I could not make it to Boise, and that's on me for trying to save a couple bucks and go same day instead of going a day early and paying for the extra hotel room, all that kind of stuff. I messed up, and I mean, I wasn't counting on a mechanical issue either, but I should be there and I am not. So I apologize. I will be covering the game certainly as best I can from afar, and I will certainly let you know as best I can updates on players. And I have talked with some people there in Boise already, and I can tell you that Mustafa Amzil is sitting courtside right now during warm-ups. He's wearing a walking boot. He's in street clothes. Starting forward, Mustafa Amzil will not be playing for the Lobos tonight, still suffering from the foot injury, the plantar fasciitis, that has been bothering him for over a month now. He did miss Sunday's start against Utah State. The Lobos pulled it out anyway. He missed the start previous Saturday against Air Force. And CJ Nolan, who took a shot to the face during the Utah State game on Sunday, this guy was backing down and back of his head hit the front of CJ's face. CJ is in Boise, and it doesn't look like he's going to go. I was told not too long ago that he has not come out yet. Doesn't look like if he's not out warming up by now, he's likely not going to be playing. But I was told earlier today that there was still no final decision made. I think they were probably leaning this way from the start, but there was no final decision made for Mustafa's foot. It's going to be this way the rest of the year. They're just going to check it out day to day and see when he can go and when he can't. That's where they're at with that. The CJ injury is unique because it was a blow to the face, really, and he is not under concussion protocol, but they are monitoring kind of, I guess, the injury of some sort that is not concussion protocol. The trainer would put him under concussion protocol if that's what it was. It is not that. And anyway, he's not going. The Lobos are a 6-man primary minutes rotation. 6 players average 21 minutes or more, and then the drop-off from that goes down to 11 minutes. And that is Braden Applehans, who hasn't been playing 11 minutes a game for about 3-4 weeks, and Jovan Milicevic, who is at 11.3 minutes a game. He's been playing a little bit more than 11. The fact that he's at 11 minutes now is because the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been increasing his minutes every game. I expect him to get the start as he did Sunday at the 4 for Mustafa Amzil. But the problem with that is if he's not your first big man off the bench, because he's starting now, and CJ's not your first guard off the bench because he's not playing, well, you got a problem with your bench. And the Lobos got a problem. And fortunately for the Lobos, they took a 2-game lead, plus having all tiebreakers with Sunday's win, with only 5 games for them left to play. So they're in a good position. They really have a 3-game lead on the number 1 seed for the Mountain West tournament and at least a share of the Mountain West title. But they also have road games at Boise tonight, at San Diego State on Tuesday, at Nevada in a couple weeks. They have home games against the UNLV team that was a 1-possession game earlier in the year and that's beat UNM in the pit a few times in recent years. They also have a home game against Air Force. Sounds easy enough. Air Force is winless in Mountain West play, but a year ago, an Air Force win in the pit, a shocker, really is what ended up costing UNM Lobos an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. It didn't matter. They won the Mountain West tournament 4 games in 4 days, first team that ever did that. So they made the NCAA tournament anyway, but they wouldn't have been an at-large team, and it was because of that Air Force loss. So the Lobos do have 5 games left in the regular season. They're in a very, very good, comfortable position, but it's not done yet, and they're not in a position where they can just take games off the rest of the way. But what they can do in this position right now, after the Utah State win, is relaxed and enough where you rest guys who are hurting. And CJ Nolan is hurting. Mustafa Mziel is hurting. And you rest them now. So let me get to a couple of your questions here. Hey, Geoff, that's all right. Are Nolan and Mziel out confirmed? As Mustafa Mziel's in a boot in street clothes on the sideline. Last I was told was CJ had not come out of the locker room yet, and we're looking at 35 minutes before game time now. So I can't tell you for sure because I can't see him on the court. But last I was told is CJ probably is not going to be playing tonight because he has not yet come out of the locker room. As far as available players tonight, I'm pulling up stat broadcast. I think they're going to be listed anyway. They are, but they list the whole roster. They're listing the walk-ons who haven't played all year either. So I do not expect CJ Nolan to play, and Mustafa Mziel is in street clothes. He is not playing. Mark, that is correct. If they lose tonight, it's my fault. I realize that. I realize that. That is true most nights, but none more than the night I can't even get to the game. So Juan is telling us from YouTube, what up, dog? What do you think are True's chances of winning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year? Also, when are you and Sean doing the next live stream? Good question on the Sean part. I don't know. We'll do one soon. I will say on the True Washington thing, I think he has a good chance. Good meaning I wouldn't. Well, okay. Let me back up. I think Mountain West Player or Defensive Player of the Year. I think Nelly Jr. Joseph has a really good shot. I think his rebounding and shot blocking is going to probably put him in the driver's seat in a lot of voters' minds. I think some coaches, though, around the league, I know some coaches around the league because I've talked to them, are so impressed with True's on-ball defense that, he might True might have a chance. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I know Nelly's a first teamer. I don't think anybody's even questioning that anymore. So Nelly Jr. Joseph will be first team all conference. Donovan Dent is in the driver's seat for player of the year. And True Washington probably won't be a first team player. He could elevate himself by the end of this year to second team all conference, though. And he could do that because some people are considering him defensive player of the year. His game Sunday, a national audience got to see it on Sunday afternoon. You don't get to see Mountain West basketball on a Sunday afternoon that often. Well, in front of that national audience, True Washington had the best game of his college career, and it was on both sides of the court. He had 4 steals, but it was also just in Drake Allen's head. It was not a good game in terms of whoever True was guarding, because True on his on-ball defense is something I haven't seen before. And he's also big and strong and physical. And so while Jalen House's on-ball defense was crazy last year, he was a high-risk point guard, and he could get steals. He was also about 150 pounds, and every now and then would just get bowled over. True Washington isn't that. He does the on-ball defense that Jalen House did, but he's also strong and physical. And I think True Washington could win Mountain West Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. If I'm putting odds on it, I'm not going to say he's going to win it. I think Nelly Jr. Joseph, his teammate, might be the front runner right now, but I'm telling you, man, I've talked to coaches. True Washington will get some love from the coaches, I think, but so will Nelly. So, I wouldn't put True as the favorite right now, but I'll put him in contention. They ruined my In-N-Out burger. All right. I'm not following. Is this the best Lobo team I've seen? No. The golfers last year, they were a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, had 3 future NBA players, had a Mountain West Player of the Year who never made the NBA. They had Tony Snell, Alex Kirk, Cameron Bairstow, Hugh Greenwood, and Kendall Williams as their starting 5. That was the best team I've seen. The 2010 team didn't have depth, but their starting 5 certainly could hold their own, and they won 30 games, and they'll tell you they were the best. The 2010 team was better than this one. The 2013 team was better than this one. The 2014 team's worth questioning. It was Craig Neal's first year as head coach. Alex Kirk and Cam Bairstow were both opening night roster guys on NBA teams after they left UNM. and that team did not have Tony Snell, but it did have Kendall Williams, Hugh Greenwood, Deshaun Delaney. I thought was a really good piece of that 2014 team. That team was pretty good. It finished second in the Mountain West. Regular season championship went down to the last game of the year at San Diego State. They did win the Mountain West tournament and were a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. That team was really good. This team, I think, might be as good as that team. And the reason I like this team so much, though, and I do think this team is better than last year's team, even though last year's team has in JT Toppin, Jamal Mashburn Jr., 2 guys who are killing it at other universities right now. And last year's team had Jalen House, who's a G League guy, and was just, I'll tell you what, the week of the Mountain West tournament, Jalen House looked at the best player in the whole league. Jaden the D, of course, was that overall last year, but Jalen House was that week. And they missed those 3 guys, and they're a better team. Sounds kind of weird, but the reality is, and I've said this on another show, when you think of, okay, man, the Lobos lost those 3 guys. They got Dent, and they got Nelly Jr. Joseph back, and they got Mustafa Amzil back, and they got True Washington back. And you think of all 4 of those guys in terms of what they were last year. All 4 of those guys are not what they were last year. So it's not like the Lobos have those guys back. The Lobos now have a Mountain West Player of the Year in Donovan Dent. That is not what he was last year. The Lobos now have 2 guys who might be in the running for Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year in True Washington and Nelly Jr. Joseph. That is not what either of them were last year. And they have in Mustafa Amzil, a bona fide starter who was 6th man of the year last year. But this year, until the injury came, was really the number 2 guy in terms of back to the basket, kind of playing low post, helping with rebounds, doing a lot more than I think some fans who have been really critical of him give him credit for. So is this the best Lobo team I've seen? No, but it's not far off. I would say, and certainly before anybody wants to chime in, 77, 78 Lobos from back before I ever knew what a basketball was or was, born. Yeah, I get it. That team might have been the best ever. You can throw if you want to throw some of the Dave Bliss teams in there late. I know Kenny Thomas certainly will and has and stuff like that. But I'll give you the ones I know of: 2010 Lobos, 2013 Lobos, 2012 Lobos as well. I'm sorry, that was the Drew Gordon team. So that certainly was right up there, and I haven't even mentioned them. So 2010, 2012, 2013 Lobos, all 3 were probably a little better than this year's team, but I think this year's team's as good as the 2014 NCAA tournament team. And that was a pretty good team. Had a couple future NBA players starting in the front court. So good question there, Dominic. I appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys who are sending in questions. My bad. Yeah, JVT, the on X, if you haven't heard, they are out. In fact, I know you follow me on X, and I know you got probably a show to do yourself. I probably have not mentioned this on X. I can go post it there too. But Mustafa Amzil 100% is out, and I do not see CJ Noland as being somebody or as coming out of the locker room yet. I'm trying to see if there is an update officially there. I got someone on Twitter basically saying, I miss being able to see the pregame shoot around when I put the little webcam up, because then he knows how bad the Lobos are going to start. So there you go. Apologize. I don't have that cam. My cam doesn't reach from Albuquerque to Boise, so I can't show you guys how they're doing in pregame warmups. Will Dotson get playing time? Look, I've answered this a couple times. My apologies. I know Dotson seems to be a pretty popular player because I get asked this almost every pregame now. Dotson, they think really highly of. They like Cade Dotson. They think Cade Dotson and use Cade Dotson as a point guard. They don't, the Cade Dotson, Donovan Dent minutes together haven't been that successful. I know some people say they want to see that more. It frankly hasn't really worked very well. So if Donovan Dent's going to play 40 minutes as he did Sunday against Utah State, well, then Cade Dotson probably isn't going to get the minutes that I know a lot of people want to see him get. Cade's a very good player. They're really high on him. He is a true freshman. True freshmen didn't used to play all that much. True freshmen still don't usually play all that much, especially in the transfer portal world. Just be patient, and Dotson will start getting more playing time next year. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not playing that game. But Cade Dotson is somebody they're very high on. But no, I don't see Cade Dotson and Donovan Dent playing much together. I see Cade Dotson getting most of his minutes, if any, when Donovan Dent is on the bench. So that's what I see with Cade Dotson. And it's not because I don't think he's good. It's not because the coaches don't think he's good. It's because he plays the one position behind the Mountain West Player of the Year. Extra Mile Arena looks odd tonight. I'm telling you, man, this is not what I remember. That's for sure, Nick. Did you bet any money after Boise State is favorite? I don't bet on the games I cover, so nope, did not bet any money. I make picks on every game, and I'm horrible at it. So feel free to follow my picks if you want, or fade my picks and make some money. I post those every single game, but I don't play the bet on the games and bet on the team I cover kind of stuff. What else we got here? Jimmy H. It's really bad news on CJ. I agree. I agree. They're in such a comfortable spot that if you have the option to rest him now, now's the time to do it. But losing at Boise State's not going to hurt the Lobos NCAA tournament chances at all. But man, winning one more road game on against the Boise State sure would help. But risk reward, it's kind of what they're weighing right now. Carlos on X, are you doing a remote after the game interview with coach and player? I don't think I will be doing a player. I don't know if it's going to be recorded or not. I don't know if I'm going to be, maybe I'll do it like this with the video and all. But I know I'm at least at a minimum getting an interview with somebody by phone. But maybe we can do a video one. I don't know. I'll have to check with them. On X, do you agree with Boise being favored by 4.5? I think it should be the other way around. I do not. I 100% agree with Boise being favored. Every analytics I've looked at, Bart Torvik, looking at Ken Palm right now. Let me see what Ken Palm's at right now. Ken Palm has it as a 3-point game, I think. A 2-point game, 77-75 in favor of Boise State. Yeah, Boise State should be favored at home. They should be. Should it be 4.5? Well, after 2 of your top 6 players are not playing, then yeah, I totally agree with it. But even if they were playing, Boise State should be favored by at least 2. UNM has not won there in 6 years. UNM hasn't won there since 2000, or in 6 games. It's been since 2017 rather, that they've won there. January 2017 was the last time UNM won at Boise. Like those things don't go away just because UNM has a good record right now. Boise struggled this year, though. Boise is coming off a beat down from San Diego State, and earlier this year got a beat down from UNM. But this is not that same Boise team. This is not the same UNM team, not with the injuries. So I am a victim of Doge. I don't know about that. I don't know how much Southwest Airlines mechanics are going through there. Craig Neal's brain couldn't comprehend a 1-3-1 zone. That is the 2014 team on the final game of the regular season when they lost to San Diego State. Had a 12-point lead, I believe it was, with like 7 minutes to go. Or it was a 7-point lead with 12 minutes to go. I can't remember, but I think it's 12-point lead, like 7 minutes to go. San Diego State goes to a 1-3 zone and ends up beating the Lobos for Mountain West regular season title. 1 week after that was a Saturday night. 1 week after that, the following Saturday, UNM took it to San Diego State in the Mountain West Tournament Championship game, and both were in the NCAA tournament. That was a totally 2-team Mountain West that year. There was not a third team even in the conversation, and those 2 teams were the best teams. Xavier Thames won Player of the Year that year. I still think, even though they got second, that Cameron Bairstow should have won it. But those were 2 great players. Alex Kirk was another one that I just thought was a tremendous player. Kendall Williams was a senior that year too. A lot of good players played in that championship game. Any surprising answers from the Boise post-game interview with Pitino? Don't know yet. I might not be understanding what you're asking or getting at, but I will I will try and answer that if I understand what you mean. The game hasn't happened yet, so shout out to Mashburn, but he doesn't play a winning style of basketball. He's clearly addition by subtraction. All right. I mean, Donovan Dent wouldn't be here if Mashburn was here. So yeah, Mashburn wanted to leave, and everyone else was in agreement with it. They were all on the same page. I don't think that's really in question. I mean, I'm just me bringing him up was he was on this team last year. That is what they were last year. Those players, and this year's team is better. Um, Not because they lost all those players, just because they're a different team. And Donovan Dent and Nelly Jr. Joseph are different players. But yeah, I mean, no reason in February 19th of this season to be taking shots at Jamal Mashburn Jr. I get it. Some people like to do that, but I don't get it. I will say this. I just got a text. CJ Noland he came out late. CJ Noland is warming up. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't necessarily play a ton, but I am told, trying to see if I got any more messages here. I wish I'd been looking at my phone a little earlier. I do see a message on Twitter right now saying, "Sorry, Geoff, I can't listen to these clowns talking about the Boise State show." Yeah, I hope you listen to my show instead. So I'm being told though that CJ Nolan is warming up. Big news, obviously. If true. Wish I was there to tell you. Paul on YouTube. As much as I loved House and Mash, their departures let Donovan take the keys of the team. Getting taller certainly helped as well. 100%. Donovan Dent would not be the player of the year right now if he was still sharing the backcourt with either of those players. Jalen moved on because he graduated. Jamal moved on because he was ready for something else and a bigger opportunity for himself, a different opportunity. But the Lobos were going to go. Understand the Lobos were going to hand the keys to Donovan Dent anyway. That might be why. I think we all know it's probably why Jamal Mashburn Jr. left. But they were going this route anyway. There wasn't some big push to try and keep Mash and all that. Mash left, and everyone was on the same page, including Mash. It wasn't a bitter breakup. Everybody knew it was time to move on. And Donovan Dent is what he is now because of it. Yep, BJ said CJ is playing. That is right. I also got a text from somebody with UNM that says CJ is warming up. He came out late to warm ups, but it is what it is. CJ Noland is warming up. Let me apologize for the kind of back and forth here. I'm trying to read all these texts that I'm getting from Boise. Not an ideal situation, obviously. All right, let me add this here. I will mute this so you guys don't have to hear my my keyboard. Okay, back to your questions. I apologize, everybody. Back to your question. Geoff, why does Southwest hate you? That's a good question. It's probably because I complain about every little flight delay I have, and it's become kind of a little bit of a little bit of a shtick that I have, and it's really biting me. It's biting me in the ass tonight, right? Southwest did not get me to Boise, so joke's on me. Packers on Facebook. Someone said Nolan is dressed. That is correct. Nolan is dressed. I got a text after I started the show, so I apologize for the earlier suggestion that he wasn't playing. What I did say earlier was that he hadn't come out of the locker room, and I didn't think he was going to play if he hadn't come out to start warming up by then. But he is out there warming up now. So what will Dent do after this season? I don't know. He could probably play. He won't be in the NBA next year. He could be a G League 10-day contract kind of guy. He can make good money overseas. He will make more money in college, whether that's at the University of New Mexico or somewhere else. I see Donovan Dent playing another year of college because NIL has, everybody hates NIL for a lot of different reasons. Everybody hates the transfer portal for a lot of different reasons. Well, Donovan Dent's going to be a part of college basketball next year because of NIL. And, we'll see where that is. But my guess is Donovan Dent is in college basketball for another year, which is good for college basketball. And he will be making a lot of money, and as he should. What kind of statement do you think it will send the rest of the conference if the Lobos can win tonight down 2 players in a place like Extra Mile? This has been sitting in there for a while, so obviously it won't be down 2 players now. I know you put that in there before we knew CJ was warming up, but it's a good statement. I think the statement was sent Sunday, though, when they did do it with down 2 players. No Mustafa Amzil against Utah State. CJ Nolan played less than 7 minutes and was out for the final 35 minutes or 32 minutes, I believe, of the game because he checked in really early in that game. And so 30 plus minutes, he wasn't even available. And the Lobos still won. The Lobos did not play their best game. Utah State played a very good game, and the Lobos still won. That also couple that with the fact that the Lobos handed Utah State their worst loss of the season in Logan. Couple that with a blowout that they've had already against the other top teams in the league, twice against Colorado State, once against Boise State, once against San Diego State. The statement has been sent all year by these Lobos, and they've been impressive. I get that the league is down. This league is not what it was last year, but there have not been a lot in 26 years of Mountain West play. There have not been a lot of years when one team has done to the other top teams what the Lobos have done. Now the Lobos still have several really tough games left on the road. Can you tell I have a cold? As Patino keeps saying, the race is not done. But what they've done to this point, there have not been very many Mountain West teams that have done that. So they've been impressive. All right, what else we got here? I'm hacking up a lung here. A little plug for Dr. Pepper Zero. Send me a case. What do we got here? Need SDSU to beat Utah State on Saturday. Yeah, that'd help. That certainly would help. The program wouldn't be where it is today without MASH. 100%. The 3-year rebuild under Richard Pitino was really a 3-year rebuild of Richard Pitino, Jalen House, and Jamal Mashburn Jr. Don't forget that. Don't get it twisted. Pitino deserves a ton of credit, and let's see if a cough drop helps. Pitino deserves a ton of credit. He's coached the program back into relevance, back into a huge home crowds, and back into the NCAA tournament twice now. Last year and what I believe will be the second time this year. And he deserves a ton of credit. The foundation of the rebuild was 2 transfers that he got before anybody else. Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. were the 2 first pieces he got. And the rebuild was built because of them. And yeah, you are correct, Moises. The program would not be where it is today without MASH. John Romero on YouTube. We're all in the mood to tame us some Broncos. Have my headband and wristbands on for tonight's game. We need CJ, all hands on deck. Dre Martinez on next. Geoff, any advice for someone who wants to get into sports writing? Me? Man. My advice would be figure out how to do shows like this without coughing your brains out. Don't miss flights. I didn't miss a flight, but don't travel same day if you could ever help it. Send me a message. I'll help you out if I can. Our sports editor Lucas Pierman could also help. I know some other people have reached out recently asking the exact same question you're asking, man. Um, Initiatives the right way to go, but yeah, send me a message on social media, and I'll see if I can't get back to you. John, the line in Vegas dropping in real time per CJ being on the court. I saw it at 4.5. I am now seeing it as I still see it as 4.5. So I know it was up to 5.5 earlier. I saw it as 4.5 before we knew CJ was playing. So I always wanted to know if coaches encourage getting flu shots to avoid sick players in February and March. Good question. I don't know the answer to that. At Panda, orange chicken or Beijing beef? I like their Beijing beef, and I hate to be just like go with the the answer is orange chicken. Panda orange chicken. Sorry guys, I'm hacking up a lung here. My apologies. No no co-hosts doing this with the cold. It's not the easiest thing. Uh Eric Chavez on next. This year's team is better than last year's team. We lost some extremely talented players last year, but this year's team is better chemistry. I agree. Patino is a lot like Alfred in recognizing what players to play together. Um, I, I agree with that. What I would say is, this year's team, while deep and everyone likes all these bench players, Patino has shortened the bench to 7-man rotation, maybe even a 6-man rotation. And fans ask me every game why so and so is not getting minutes anymore. It's because Patino shortened the bench really in early January. YouTube Jeremiah on YouTube is asking, does UNM realistically have an NIL situation to keep Dent? Keeping him would take up the whole pie. I mean, I don't know what you think the cost of keeping Donovan will be. UNM basketball will have probably a $3 million NIL next year. It is well over $2 million just for men's basketball this year. It is one of the best in the West, and has been because it had people step up immediately when NIL was um, first allowed. Kurt Roth deserves a ton of credit, and if you're a Lobo fan, frankly, you should thank Kurt Roth for the resurrection of this program, and thank Patino as well. But yeah, I mean, Donovan Dent will be a millionaire wherever he plays next year, and that includes at the University of New Mexico, who will pay him $1 million or more if he stays, and are ready to. They have the money lined up. Good stuff. Appreciate that, Paul. Probably a good thing you couldn't get to Boise. Might be true. Anyone else watching the ladies' game? I do not know what the score is on the ladies' game. Happy for whoever was supposed to sit next to you today after hearing this cough. It's pretty incredible that Patino has found Donovan, True, JT, Jovan, and Cade. That is true. That is true. Got to be the beef, G Wade says. Look, I love the Beijing beef too, but I just don't think you can go wrong at Panda with the orange chicken. Everywhere else, not so much, but at Panda, you got to go the orange chicken. With UConn having worse net loss than UNM and Kansas getting blown out, UNC not others 500. Do you see a fourth Mountain West team get in? No, I do not. There are other bubble teams before a fourth Mountain West team gets in. Do you think Donnie and Patino stay? I know there's been a big push to donate, 505, all that good stuff. Donate now. I agree with the donate now if you want to keep those guys, but yeah, I don't know if either one are staying. I don't know if either one are going. Why isn't the regular season title an automatic bid? Perplexes me. It's because conference tournaments make money for the conferences, and they'd rather that be. You can't devalue the conference tournament and expect fans to go. So the only reason is because of the conference tournaments. Wrapping up some of these, when Dent is able to hit the off the bounce, he will be a top NBA pick. And I just wish his agent sending you some green chili for your cold. Appreciate that, man. Geoff, you should mount some old school rabbit ears to your backwards cap in order to receive the signal better. I appreciate you. Just got to chat. Nolan Amzeal status. Amzeal out. Nolan warming up. Nolan is good. Amzeal is out. Amzeal, no. Yep. You guys are helping each other out in the chat there. And yep, after Nolan and Tiki's getting the most minutes off the bench, it is true. Sean on the pregame. Any word? Big impact players for next season? I mean, they signed two top high school prep guys already. No idea on transfer portal because transfer doesn't open until after the season. If I knew of anybody, that means they would be tampering. So, yeah, I don't know who they're going to get. I know the two high school guys I've written about. They were here at the Utah State game on Sunday, so that was good. Really hope he stays. Loyalty is hard to come by sometimes. I agree. UNM women up 30-26 at San Jose State, with the Pitt being a top 10, if not top 5 arena in college basketball. Do you know why other student sections, or why our student section is only the one section as compared to other teams? UNM student section is not filled up more than 500 seats on any consistent basis. If they do that for 3 or 4 years in a row, then I'm with you, man. I love venues that have bigger student sections. UNM has not earned. Student sections can get mad at me all they want, but UNM has not earned a bigger student section than it has right now. Right now, you can still sit 750 or 1,000 kids in there, and do that for 2 or 3 years. And until just even a couple of years ago, they were not filling up their 500 students or ticket allotment, and that means tickets that they can't sell for a program that needs money. That's why. So. You're not going to see UNM increase its student section unless students consistently, and I mean for like a few years at a time, show up. What they're doing now is great, though. They're on their way to doing that. They're just not there yet. I'll do my best. GG. Ladies are up 30-26 at the half. I like it. UNM women beating San Jose State 30-26 at the break. What do you think UNM will offer Patino to keep him? $2 million. I think it'll get up to $2 million. I don't know that UNM can go much more than $2 million, but I think they will be able to get to $2 million plus some help around the program for some assistance and some other things. But I think UNM can get to $2 million. We're now including the tournament. Best we can do is a 7 seed. I disagree. Best the ceiling is a 6 seed. I don't see them getting to a 6 seed, mind you, but I do think that if you're asking me the best case scenario, 6 seed. Man, would they love that. Chili fam. Anyone know a good doctor from Mustafa? Genuinely curious. Which arena is louder, the Pit or the Spectrum? The Pit. The Pit is louder. The student section at the Spectrum's unreal. The Herd is fantastic. The Pit's louder arena. Is $1 million enough to keep him, or need to get closer to $2 million? For Donovan, I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to him or his dad specifically about dollars or about dollar figures, but I do know Donovan is a pretty loyal guy. Like everybody says they want. Well, Donovan has shown he's that. He has a girlfriend at UNM. Um, he's not going to take a discount, and he shouldn't. Look. These kids have a small window to make the money they're going to make. He should take what he can get, but he does like the situation at UNM quite a bit. Someone from Utah State wrote that the pit is louder, but the herd is elite. I will say the exact same. Looks like a delay as per usual before the game starts. Bradley, Illinois running late. Geoff, what's the song of the day? That's a good question. I don't know. UNM students care so little about basketball team in comparison to Albuquerque in general. How do you think UNM can change that? It's a good question. And, I'll think about that because I've thought about for a while why the pit can be so good for so many people in this community and other venues can be so good for their students. And yet in Albuquerque, the students and the community aren't on the same page for some reason for a really good product in the pit. Don't know. Toppin had a girlfriend at UNM too. That is true. Toppin also got paid well over $1 million. Also reunited with his high school friend. Also reunited with his high school or skills coach, his AAU coach at Texas Tech. There's a lot keeping Toppin from coming back to UNM. And there will be two for Donovan. If he gets offered $2 million somewhere and UNM can't really go up to past 1.4, 1.5 million. Yeah, I mean Donovan should go too. Again, their earning windows are really small, but JT Toppin had an awful lot more than just a girlfriend that played into that decision, like a ton more money and some very close personal friends in Lubbock. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. It's 8:00. Game's about to start here shortly. I obviously need to go get some cough drops, some cough medicine, and some more water. Appreciate you guys for being here. Wish I was in Boise. Believe me, I'm embarrassed that I'm not. Obviously, I didn't create the mechanical issue, but it doesn't matter. No, no excuse. I'm the beat writer. I need to be there. Appreciate you guys for being on and asking all the questions. I will still have a game story. We'll still have an emptying the notebook, and we'll still talk to Patino after the game. So I appreciate all of you for being here, and thanks for watching, guys.